You're listening to Lore Friendly. I'm your host, Chris Takashi, and with me, 10th in line for the throne, 3rd string quarterback for the Bears, and number 1 in your hearts, Alice Bell.
Hey up, duck.
So, what's up? How have you been?
Tired. It's nearly Christmas. Yay!
Yes. You told me you were in a Secret Santa thing last time.
Yeah, the Reddit Secret Santa. I finally got it sent in time. Only just. The stuff that I bought him, it was very lightweight, but I couldn't fit it into a normal size box, so I had to spend £12 on shipping to Cheshire.
Oh, poor you. I thought you said you couldn't figure out what to get him because he was, his Reddit history was nothing but FIFA stuff.
He mentioned that he was a student at uni.
Oh, okay.
So, I thought, January exams are coming up. Let's buy him loads of junk food, because that's what you need to get yourself through exam season.
Well, how do you know he even likes junk food?
Well, he's got to deal with it.
You should have wrapped the candy in FIFA jerseys or something.
Mate, do you know how expensive that would be? Yeah. FIFA are the most money-grabbing sports company I've ever seen.
Well, they're all pretty expensive, regardless of the sport you choose. But that's why I was telling you, there should really be a secondary market for Secret Santas.
Yeah.
You should be able to find a FIFA fan who likes Doctor Who or something.
Yeah.
And then you give them a Doctor
cherry
Who
pick
gift.
what you know about so you can get them something that they'll like.
Yeah, and then he could get something for your Secret Santa recipient.
Yeah.
Because they do that for sports tickets. If you can't go to a game, there's a secondary market where you can sell your tickets. So
they do that for club nights.
Yeah, you can't give a gift to your Secret Santa because he likes things that you know nothing about.
Yeah.
So you find a secondary Secret Santa person on the market. Yeah.
I suppose I could have asked someone about it. My housemate.
You could have made some effort.
But I don't like my housemate, so I wasn't going to talk to him about it. And I barely post on Reddit anyway, so it would just be weird for me to, stroll into the FIFA thing and be like, yo, got a Secret Santa. Don't know shit about football.
And people know too. If you don't know shit about football and you try to pretend you do, people would know.
People will figure out.
Yeah, it would almost be worse because you would probably get him the one player he absolutely hates. If you got him a jersey or something, it would probably be the team he despises, and it would have been the worst gift ever.
Yeah,
so.
And then I would have got really low marked, so I won't be able to take part next year.
Oh, is that how it works? There's a
regulation
system?
You get rated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm hoping he enjoys junk food and mugs. So I got him a mug as well.
That shit's ruthless, man. God.
Well, I suppose they've got to, because, so many years, people have just, received a gift and then not given one back.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different. You need to rate people who just don't participate, but if you got them a gift and it just happens to be something that they didn't really like, well, well, it's not your fault. You're not a mind reader.
Yeah, you didn't really give me much to go on when you were just talking about FIFA in your Reddit history.
It's all your fault.
I can't be blamed.
Blame the victim.
At least my Reddit history gives me some kind of insight into what I'm like. I post on the Anglo-Saxon subreddit. I post on the Old Norse subreddit. I post on the Skyrim subreddit.
Those are not easy things to get gifts for, other than Skyrim, I guess.
Well, I got Sansa.
Yeah.
So they obviously found that I was in the Song of Ice and Fire subreddit.
Okay.
And they learned something from me.
And speaking of things you like, we need to talk about Doctor Who.
Specifically, the last 2 episodes.
Oh, yeah. Because, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like an idiot for falling for that media leak about the last episode for Jenna Coleman being number 10. God,
What? What media leak? What?
Well, you know how they were saying that this was going to be her last episode.
Oh, right, yeah.
And so, basically, they're telling her this is her last episode, so she's either going to leave or she's going to die. And so, it was so obvious that she was going to be there to the end, but they kind of, the way they use the media, this sort of 24-hour media cycle, is kind of pretty, I don't know, I don't want to say
evil. Malicious.
Yeah.
No, I think devious is a good way to describe it.
Yeah. But I can't believe we fell for it. It's so obvious. It's kind of like when HBO for Game of Thrones said Jon Snow dead is dead. He's dead.
Totes
He's gone.
dead.
Totally dead. I mean,
and then a couple of weeks later, they get photos of him in fucking Belfast.
Yeah, and when he said it, we all gave him the side eye, and it's like, oh yeah, he's really dead. Yeah, I get it. So they did the same thing for Clara and Jenna Coleman, and we totally fell for it. Well, I did totally fell for it. Yeah.
I to be honest, I didn't really care enough this season.
Okay.
But like the last 2 episodes were incredible television.
Yeah.
Like genuinely incredible. Like Hellbent, I think, lost its way a little bit, and it didn't feel quite like a Doctor Who episode. But like it was still good television.
Yeah, it was kind of romantic in a way, in the same way that the whole Rory waited for what's her face?
Yeah.
What's her name? Amy, that's her name.
That's the one.
He waited for he waited for her like for centuries and centuries. It's kind of the same deal. Like he took 1 billion years to, get out and save Clara or whatever, and but I liked it. It was kind of cheesy and romantic, but I liked it.
Heaven Sent was like one of the best episodes of TV that I've seen this year.
Oh yeah, it was
Never
so
mind just like Doctor Who. That was probably one of the best episodes since probably David Tennant's era.
Yeah, the way they set it up by having him walk in and sort of pretend like it was Clara who didn't recognize him. And then how they, I guess spoilers, but how they twisted it around in the end, and it was so good.
It was really, really incredible. And the way that there were little hints that you can pick up on a rewatch, that's what I used to love about Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
That like a plotline didn't just come out of nowhere, and it wasn't just shoved in your face. Like there were little hints towards it all the time. So like we've had the Bad Wolf scenario and things like that. We had little hints towards it, and like even though it was just one self-contained episode, we still saw hints towards the conclusion, and like you can see watching back. Oh yeah, picked up on that.
Yeah, the whole hybrid thing was really well done.
Yeah.
I think. When it was, the whole time you're thinking it's one person, and then it turns out to be 2, and it totally makes sense in the end that the hybrid is Clara and the Doctor.
Yeah, I quite like that.
Yeah, and the one part that I didn't like, when you're talking about things that are shoved in your face, is the whole Clara death part, and the fact that they switched it around and kept her alive and immortal.
Yeah, I was happy that she was dead. Why couldn't she have gone back and like faced her death?
Yeah.
Like instead of taking the long way round as she is with me or Isilda.
It would have been a better ending, the death ending, had they not shoved it in your face that she was gonna die. I mean, the fact that they had her leaning out of the TARDIS, like we mentioned last episode,
hell.
swallowing swords, walking on coals of fire, and doing God knows what. It's kind of like, that part didn't resonate with me. So I'm glad that it didn't really happen, because now it makes it all better. So apologies for
spoilers.
Well, apologies for all the criticism we gave last month. Because
it doesn't exempt the whole season, but those 2 episodes were incredible television.
Oh yeah,
and it gives me a teeny tiny, eeny weeny bit of faith back in Moffat, but I still hope he steps down, because I want something new.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that eventually, like even Hellbent, like I said before, had callbacks or had echoes of the earlier story with Amy and Rory.
Yeah. And plus there were like throwbacks to the RTD era, which, considering like how much of a shitbag he's been with it, like I felt was quite nice. So like there's the callbacks to Donna with the memory erasure. There was the callbacks to Rose with the musical theme and things like that, which I felt was really nice.
So, next topic. Game Awards.
Woo!
I didn't actually watch this. I hate award shows on principle.
I picked up, there were a couple of interesting things. So should we talk about, do you know any of the winners?
I don't know the winners. Why don't you tell them?
I will get you a list up.
Okay.
I know that Witcher 3 won Game of the Year.
Safe choice.
Yeah, very
not
safe
surprising.
choice, but not
Undertale.
not undeserved.
Undertale.
Undertale got nominated, which made me happy.
Yeah, it should have won. I don't know. I'm a little biased. See, that's the thing about award shows or anything where there's subjective criticism in general. It's completely dependent on the person's taste or what they saw last week, for instance. If they played an open world fantasy game like Dragon Age Inquisition right before they played The Witcher, Witcher's not going to hit them as hard.
No. I think that Undertale definitely got robbed for Best Indie Game, which was won by Rocket League. No!
What?
Undertale didn't win anything.
Okay, Rocket League...
I've never heard of it.
Okay, it's one of those kind of insanely popular, fun games. See, this is where my bias comes in. Rocket League should win on virtue of being the most fun game to play, I guess, for people. I've never played it, but it seems like it's a sports game. It's a soccer game. It's football.
Oh.
But with cars, which is kind of cool. It's interesting. It's unique. It's just not something that I personally would vote for, but that's because of my taste lean towards story and just creativity. Well, I mean, it's creative in a different way. See, so it's really hard to argue against it, but the criteria is different depending on who you are.
I was surprised to see Her Story nominated for Best Independent Game, because whilst I did enjoy the story, there wasn't much game to it. Like, the mechanics were typing in keywords.
So it's basically the opposite of Rocket League.
Yeah. Whereas, Undertale and I'm assuming Rocket League all had very intense game mechanics. Even though they did have... Well, Undertale had really good story and really good message and morals and everything like that. Like, Her Story didn't deliver... Her Story was literally there to deliver a story. It was basically watching YouTube videos out of sequence, which I enjoyed it, and it was very, very well done for what it was. But I think there was probably better indie games to nominate for that category.
And that's the thing, everybody has different criteria.
Yeah.
It's like when they vote for the MVP of any sports league, some writers interpret that as most valuable player, which player had the most value, and then other people just treat it as the best player period. And because these writers have different criteria, they're voting for different people for completely different reasons, and they're both right, and it creates this sort of deadlock. It's just, I don't like voting for things in general, or these award kind of shows in general, because it kind of puts a quantitative number. It says this game is better than that game, which is only true in some senses and not the complete objective sense.
Life is Strange. Did you hear about Life is Strange?
Oh, what's that?
It's like a Telltale game, but it's set in high school, and it's got much better choices.
Okay, so
that one games for change, for like innovation and stuff. And in fairness, Life is Strange did have some pretty tough decisions to make that did carry through to the story, whereas Telltale are more surface.
But see, I would vote for Rocket League for that, for innovation, and then...
See, it wasn't nominated there. Undertale was.
Okay, see.
And it still didn't win. And it was also nominated for Best Role-Playing Game. And it lost out to Witcher 3. And then it's just on to, like, esports and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always find it funny at, like, the trending gamer section that PewDiePie has been nominated for, like, the past 3 or 4 years, and he's never won. Normally it's been Total Biscuit, but it was won by Greg Miller this year. Is he IGN?
That. I don't know, but I saw that speech. It was great. It's something that I've been thinking personally for a while now, is that how weird it is we don't know who the developers are behind the games and make the great stuff. I saw this interview by Todd Howard talking about how great that Gary thing was in Fallout 3.
Yeah.
How that idea almost didn't happen, and how he had to be convinced by this writer to put it in the game. And he was like acting really dismissive about it, but in the end he relented. And then it turned out to be tremendous, right?
Yeah.
But throughout the whole interview, he never mentions the writer's name once. He never mentions him once. And I'm like, dude, like, give this guy some dap, man. Give him some credit. He came up with one of the best vaults in the entire game.
Yeah, it is one of the most memorable.
Yeah, just drop his name, buddy. Yeah, but it is kind of sad how there's so many developers and people who are responsible for making these games, and they rarely get any credit for it. So that's why I thought that speech was nice he made.
Yeah. Also, best shooter. Not won by COD. Not won by Battlefront. It was won by a game where you play as a squid. And you shoot ink. Splatoon!
Oh, yeah.
Against all these mainstream AAA shooters, and the one where you play as a squid kid wins.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That
I was
game
happy
looks
about
fun.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, of course, there's the... Yeah, wait, carry on.
Oh, I was going to say, I think people just have Call of Duty fatigue anyway, too.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that are just been
Just
rehashed over and
now,
over.
yeah.
With good reason. They make a lot of money from it.
Well, they make it every year. And the sales have been falling for a while now.
Yeah, and I think that's a thing. Like, I'm in favor of remakes. Like, they released that Final Fantasy VII remake or whatever.
Yeah, that was announced this week, wasn't it?
Yeah, they need to remake old games every 5 years or so, I think. But not every year.
Yeah, and not every game.
Yeah. I can get behind, though, remakes like I said, every 5 years or so, because I think the graphics and gameplay get stale enough over time that it would be nice if more classics were remade. Just not every year, like Madden and shit like that.
I would like to see a remake of the original Metal Gear games.
Yes.
That is something that I would love to see. I think they're remaking Metal Gear Solid 1, maybe, but I'm not 100% on that. Maybe. I know there was a fan mod that Konami blocked, but that's because Konami are dicks. On the subject of Konami being dicks, you heard about Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, I did.
The little speech, which I thought was very brave of Jeff Keighley, to just come out on a live event.
Well, it's not brave when you're pandering to the crowd. You know you're gonna get everybody on your side if you say fuck a corporation, fuck Konami. It's not.
Yeah,
that.
but at a major industry event, it's like you wouldn't go to E3 and stand on stage and say, like,
oh, you would.
Fuck EA, lol.
Okay, I give kudos to him for doing it, but he knew exactly the reaction he would get by saying, I mean, it's not that difficult to say, fuck the company that everybody hates and support the developer that everybody loves and idolizes. It's not that big of a leap. But yeah. But kudos for him for not being totally corporate, like being a corporate douche is a drone and, repeats whatever's on the cue card. Kudos to him for that.
Yeah, you could tell that he'd gone off script when he was saying it.
Yeah. So,
which I suppose he had to, because he probably didn't find out that Hideo Kojima wasn't turning up until, like, last minute.
And it would be brave if Konami was, like, a major sponsor of something he does.
Yeah.
Like you don't fuck with your sponsors. If you do that, then that's totally brave. But yeah.
Well, he's probably been put on their, like, don't send review copies list now.
Oh, yeah. Does he do reviews?
I'm assuming so.
But see, if I were him, I would love that. Then you just tweet out, Konami no longer allowing me access, and then bam, it's more bad press. So if I were Konami, I wouldn't do that. Like, I wouldn't fuck with, I wouldn't poke the bear.
Well, they've taken away so many reviewers, like, early access, that it's pretty ridiculous. Like, I think Total Biscuit doesn't get early copies. Jim Sterling doesn't. I think Kotaku have been blocked by Konami.
Wow.
Like, just quite recently. And that's a big gaming site. That's not just, like, one or two random internet personalities. That is a huge site.
Yeah, that doesn't seem very smart. Like, I guess they're public relations
I don't think they're bringing out any more games, to be honest. They're just going to focus on the pachinko machines.
Okay, good. Yeah. Well, they could make remakes, I guess. I mean, so...
It's really bad, but I would play for a Metal Gear remake.
Yeah, they did remake Metal Gear Solid for the GameCube ones.
Yeah. So now they're going to remake it for the PS4.
Of course, that actually didn't go entirely too well. If you recall that they added a cutscene where Solid Snake
backflipped over a bullet.
He kicks a rocket or something.
Oh yeah, he used the rocket as a launch pad. He just.
So, I don't know if you necessarily want more cutscenes into the game, but yeah, I mean, Do we trust Konami to make this remake? But in general, I am a fan of remakes, so
I'd like
please
to see,
make them more.
Yeah, I'd like to see Metal Gear Solid 1 Snake in the Fox engine, though.
Yeah.
Just for shits and giggles.
That's the one thing about video games. It's not like movies where remaking a movie isn't necessarily going to make it better, because I mean they're both shot on the same quality film usually, right?
Yeah.
With small differences. I know now they have higher frames per second and like HD cameras or whatever, but with graphics and video games, it's like worlds apart. Like even in a few years. So I mean, you basically it's a license to print money. You already have the story. You already have the voice acting of the characters or whatever. And...
Well, they'd probably have to re-record the voice acting.
Oh
again.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
For reasons, but yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that might be weird is the legal issues. I guess if companies change or like some games were made by companies that no longer exist.
Yeah.
So there's legal issues there. But if it's like a title like Metal Gear Solid, it shouldn't have a problem.
No. Although I wouldn't like to see it out of Kojima's hands.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Again, Kojima is the guy who
Konami owned the rights.
But Kojima is the guy who okayed that fucking Guile flip kick of the rocket, so...
Yeah, but he also okayed the boss, who is like one of the most well-developed anti-heroes.
Yeah, the core of the game will still be there.
Media. Not just video games, but media.
Yeah. No, but I mean, if Konami was in charge, they'd probably keep it mostly the same. They would be scared to tamper with it, I guess, because...
Hopefully.
The ire of the fans. Whereas Kojima would be like, I can change this. This is what I really wanted. Because that's the thing. When you make something, you go back and look on it, you automatically, like, your first reaction is, oh, I wish I hadn't done this. I wish I hadn't done that. You want to change it right away. So he'll fiddle with it more. I think in Konami's hands, it would actually, he's too scared to touch it. But
Or, maybe, what they'll do is, when you have to insert the second disc to carry on playing the game, they'll just make it so you have to repeat different chapters from like the first game, from like the first disc. Because that's what happened with MGS5, and that's why MGS5 didn't win Game of the Year.
So, Game of the Month. We should talk about that.
Well, I realised that we've been doing this show for 13 episodes now, and we haven't even touched on Chivalry Medieval Warfare, which is pretty much easy pickings, considering that we started off being like a history-based thing. And like Chivalry Medieval Warfare is like one of the more famous games based on like historical events, aside from the gazillion Nazi games. So, right, a little bit of background as why this is relevant as well. It isn't just random. So it was originally based on a Half-Life 2 mod, and like, a lot of the good games have come out of modding, quite interestingly. So we have Undertale, which has come from a creator who worked a lot on Earthbound mods. We had CSGO, which was a Half-Life mod. We had the Stanley Parable, which was a Half-Life 2, which was a Source Engine mod. All kinds of good stuff like that. We're getting a lot of decent games out from modding. So, Chris, when's your new IP coming out?
Never. It's never coming. I hate making it. Like, the actual constructing of a game is incredibly tedious. Like, the programming, everything from, like, making your character walk to the art to the music, it's incredibly hard and tedious. So no, never. You just
like doing all the writing, don't you?
Right. The whole thing that appeals about modding is all of that tedious stuff, all that really hard stuff that I can't do is already taken care of. All I have to do is just use Bethesda's assets. So yeah, that's why I like doing modding instead of making an IP, which is incredibly difficult.
Fair enough. Right, it's relevant because on, I think, December 1st, it was finally released for Xbox One and PS4. So, like, for a bit of background, it's, like, in a fictionalized medieval setting. It's not actually, like, medieval England or whatever, although I think there's an expansion pack or something that, like, focuses on the War of the Roses, or that might be a completely different game that has very similar mechanics. Not 100% on that. because I didn't buy any like DLC for this. It utilizes the standard your standard medieval weapons. So you've got your bows, your longswords, your maces, your axes, your war hammers, and shit like that. But because of the different game modes, where like attacking different castles and attacking different villages, you've got things like catapults and like oil to throw down on people's heads, which is like the best thing.
Best thing in the world. I think I'm gonna go do that tomorrow.
Considering how grisly the game is, it is actually quite fun. But the main like close quarters combat, so when you're not playing as an archer, it basically consists of like a combination of striking and parrying and blocking. And there's different like ways of striking. So you know how in Skyrim you just like click and you slash your sword and you slash your sword and you slash your sword and you slash your sword.
Right.
Well, in like Chivalry, you can choose between lunging, so that's like just going forward and like trying to whack someone's shoulder off, or then there's piercing where you thrust it forward, and then there's like blunt attacks where you just whack something into someone's head if you can. And whilst this all sounds very fun and interesting and innovative, one of the biggest issues with like the close quarters combat is like this really weird depth of field. So like if you like watch someone playing the game, or if you play it yourself, you've got this is one of the things that irks me about games, is when people try to when people get the scaling of like your arms from like your first person view wrong. So like it looks like you've got a really tiny forearm and hand and and your sword just looks really, really weird. And because of that, it's really difficult to tell how far you are away from an enemy and like to gauge the difference between you and them. So like it kind of reminds me a bit of Morrowind. You know how it had that very randomized
it's a
striking,
dice roll, basically.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of that, because like the view was the same and you had about as much chance of hitting someone.
And you have these Tyrannosaurus arms that...
Yeah, like...
Yeah, you have no idea how you hold a sword. Or pour oil on people. I mean, how are you going to lift or pull the crank or whatever?
I think you just, like, bang into it, like... That's the sound that T-Rexes make.
Use your teeth or something like that.
Yeah, like... Or your chin. Although that wouldn't be a good idea near burning oil, would it?
That does sound extremely satisfying to like pour oil on somebody, because it takes a little bit of timing. Like you don't know if they're gonna run too fast and like, get past.
Like it is very tactical. Yeah.
Right.
Like the whole game, like because of the complex combat system, it is very tactical. And I'm pretty inept at anything that comes to like anything that is in multiplayer in general. Yeah. Like, I'm really good at Team Fortress 2, but that's only because I play the medic and I stay out of everyone's way. But like this, there is no medic. So I can't stay out of everyone's way unless, like, you play the archer.
Yeah, there's no Band-Aid that's gonna fix a vat of boiling oil falling.
No, because people are unpredictable. AI is predictable.
There's no patching up a guy losing his limb. Yeah.
No. And there's no, like, dealing with people in general.
Just a flesh wound.
It's that Monty Python film.
Yeah.
God, I really want to watch that again. Anyway. But it's definitely, like, when you do actually manage to kill someone, so, like, you can take their head off, you can chop their arms off, it's all very, like, satisfyingly brutal and, like, grisly and gory, and I really do like my grisliness and my goriness. But it's so hard to do that I just end up playing Archer just so I could watch other people do it and be like, yay, go team!
Yeah.
And, like, just stay out of people's way.
So it's kind of like real life.
Yeah. I would make a terrible soldier.
Yeah, I like my video games nice and easy, because I suck at them.
It was incredibly difficult, and I'm sure that if I invest more time into it, and if I invested more time into the mechanics and everything, then I would be better at it, and I would enjoy it a lot more. But to be honest, I enjoyed watching everyone else have a great time with it, killing people for me. So I think that says something about the game and its quality. It's very much a competitive game for like people who actually want to think when they're playing games, and that's not really what I want to do unless it's story-wise.
Yeah, that's the thing about games is that, okay, you can spend time and get better, and it's extremely satisfying to do that, but it's also an incredible time sink. And do you really have enough time in the day to
No.
invest in ultimately what is not going to be a valuable skill?
No,
I mean,
I don't.
yeah, exactly.
I just genuinely don't. Right, so scale of Game of Thrones characters, shall we? Well,
I can't do it. I didn't play.
I'm just gonna have to do it in like, I think we're gonna have to change it, so instead of it being like scale of Game of Thrones characters, it's gonna have to be like scale of
anything.
George R.R. Martinisms.
Well, it doesn't have to be George R.R. Martin. You could say on a scale of Marvel characters, on a scale of
I quite
DC.
I quite like keeping it Game of Thronesy though.
Okay, that's fine.
But seeing as we've been referencing so much like A Song of Ice and Fire shit, I feel like we should change it to the broader George R. R. Martin category.
Sure.
So the GURM, on a scale of GURM characters and events, I would give this a Astapor because it's really, really bloody and grisly, and it's great, but it's really, really difficult to manage.
And I agree because I didn't actually play the game. So this is a first.
So prepared.
Yes.
So prepared.
Yes. Hey,
It's not like we've planned this, like, 2 days ago.
No. Never. At least 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Although we have done podcasts on the fly before, so this is an improvement.
Yeah. In fairness to me, I had to play a lot of Fallout 4. So.
Yeah, you've got to, like, make sure that you've got enough material.
Yeah,
shit.
Speaking of which, I actually contacted Eleonora, who does house mods and things like that.
Yeah.
And she said that she would be cool with making cells and
Yay!
new locations for the mod.
Woohoo!
So awesome!
So
Woohoo!
did you do that all by yourself in Skyrim? Or
No,
did you have help there?
I had help
well?
from Bethesda by cloning their
Oh,
existing cells
okay.
and rearranging furniture.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
See,
Fair dues.
another thing that I cannot stand doing about modding.
Do you not like playing Sims then?
When I played Fallout 4, I skipped the entire crafting process. That's how I beat the game in such a short time. Yeah. Anything to do with just that isn't part of like making the quest story or NPC part is just it's tedious. So
Secondary.
yeah, it's secondary. I mean, if I was good at it, I would probably enjoy it, but the fact that I suck at it, like it's like
It
one of
doesn't
those
make you want to get better.
Yeah, so you know how like artists, they have a picture in their head of how they want their drawing to
Yeah.
look, and then they try and draw it, and then it turns out to be like a stick figure and it's crap, and then they throw their piece of paper in the trash. Yeah. That's basically how I feel trying to make cells. It's like, oh, this is horrible. It's nothing like what I pictured. I'm just going to copy this other cell. Yeah.
Fair dues.
But for Fallout 4, I don't think we're going to do that because someone awesome and creative and great at making cells has agreed to help. So
Yay! Collaboration!
Yay to
Woo!
that. That's the thing. Like, there's some things that you just need help on.
Yeah.
It's
Especially seeing as the modding kit hasn't come out yet.
yeah,
still.
yeah. So
Why did they delay it so much?
because they want people to play the game
I
vanilla. They
suppose.
want people to experience the game that they made. They don't want people to experience a modder's modded paradise.
See, this is why I got Skyrim a year later, because then they could sort out the UI for me.
Yeah, the UI.
Like, Sky UI was came out a week after the game did, didn't it?
Right.
Even though there wasn't a creation kit out.
Right. In fairness to Bethesda, the UI is limited because of the lore, the Pip-Boy. Because it's on the Pip-Boy. So
like, the Pip-Boy makes it a bit more, like,
restrained.
understandable, and, like, whereas with Skyrim, you were, like, scrolling through pages and pages and pages of items. It was just really inconvenient because it was made for consoles.
Right.
Whereas, like, the Pip-Boy, it's applicable. You can use it for both.
The item names are horrible, though. I mean, it's really hard to find what you're looking for. You pick up an item, and it just goes to the miscellaneous tab, which is full of, like, every miscellaneous thing you picked up in the game. So, trying to find the letter you just picked up and not knowing what it is.
Oh, God.
There needs to be something that shows what you read and what you didn't read. And
That's something that Sky UI does.
yeah. There are some tweaks that, I mean, I'm not going to let them completely off the hook, but it's
No.
sort of understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just,
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'll just wait until the modding kit comes out. And I get a bit better PC.
Oh, yeah.
I still can't play it.
It does run pretty smoothly. I have a 770 GTX with a i5 2500K, which is kind of old and outdated. But it runs both The Witcher 3 and this game ran pretty well.
That's impressive.
On high settings, too. So.
Let me just try and find out what mine is. Because I've had mine. Mine's like a pre-built laptop from 2012.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to run.
Yeah,
I think.
It was like 650 quid, I think. Which is around, I don't know, around $1,000.
Yeah, that's...
My student loan came
That's
through.
basically a paperweight.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's
Nowadays.
Yeah.
Hey, it still runs like the 1K Skyrim mods and stuff, so I'm cool with it.
It's trash.
How dare you? This has got my life's work on it.
Okay. That's worth maybe a few quid, I guess.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Fallout 4, in Fallout 4 they have a lot of locations that are real locations. Like, you can go to Bunker Hill, you can see the statue of Paul Revere, yada yada yada. My question is the same true of Skyrim?
Yes, well, not real places, but the naming conventions reflect real-world naming conventions.
Really?
So yeah.
There's a High
Right.
Hrothgar. if I go to Norway, I'll find.
I will explain. All in good time.
There's
Right,
a
so
Bellathor.
first... Shut up. Right, we're going to run, like...
Nazim. I can meet Nazim in Norway.
Dude!
Okay, go ahead.
Dude, I'm too excited! Right, so first we're going to explain the meanings of the names that are kind of explained in-game. So I'm going by the major settlements and capital cities of the different holds. So first off, we have Dawnstar, whose definition is given in Arena, like way back, way back when, and it's basically, and the name basically means greeting the sun as it begins its journey, because it's one of the most northernmost parts of Skyrim.
Right.
It's right in the center of Skyrim, and
Right, that's pretty self-explanatory. Dawnstar.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that means, you're
fucked.
you might have had a lobotomy in your past.
Yeah, and then we have Dragon Bridge.
Okay.
Because the bridge
It has a dragon head
was
on
built
it. Yeah.
by the dragon cult, and it's got a dragon head on
Okay,
it.
Yeah.
And we've got
really complicated shit.
Yeah.
Right here.
And we've got Riverwood,
Yeah.
which is a wood by a river. And then we have, and going into slightly more obscure ones,
Okay.
we have Solitude, which is very, it's very, like, taken away from the rest of Skyrim.
My head hurts just trying to decipher that one.
Yeah.
Solitude. Wow.
Right, now we're getting to the interesting stuff.
Okay.
So, basically, in England and Scandinavia and all over the real world, place names are given according to people, geography, and landscape. So, where I come from, Chesterfield, that translates as Kirsterfeld, and Kirster means a Roman encampment or city, and Feld describes an open space. So Chesterfield translates as open space around a Roman camp. So, like, looking into the archaeological digs and stuff that's gone around the area, we can find Roman coins and stuff like that. So we know that Romans had a settlement there.
Okay.
So, like, in the real world, basically, naming conventions reflect what happened in the place. So what industry, people, places, rivers, stuff like that. So this is where the names get really interesting. So, first off, I'm going to go to Whiterun, which sounds simple enough, because the White River runs through Whiterun Hold.
Okay.
So that's pretty basic, but the river's significant because it cleaves the area in two.
Yeah,
So,
I thought you said these were gonna get obscure.
mate, I've still got Old English and Old Norse to read out yet.
Okay.
And then we have Winterhold. So the hold was used in the Old English / Old Norse Danelaw, which was the area of Britain where Scandinavians were allowed to settle and basically take ownership of. And so in the Danelaw area, we had a lot of holds instead of hundreds and things like that.
Right.
So the structure of Winterhold basically means winter's land. It doesn't mean like wintry hold or wintry place. It literally translates as winter's land, like winter has it.
Right.
Right. And then going to Riften, which is the capital city of, well, the only city in the Rift, and the name of the Rift comes from either the mountain range that separates it from the rest of Skyrim,
yeah,
or the river that runs straight through the middle of Riften.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the geography of Skyrim, better than my own neighborhood.
I'm just describing it to evoke an image for our listeners.
Yeah.
And
no, it's weird that, like, if you needed directions from Riften to Riverwood, I could give you that. But if you need directions to the store around the corner or whatever, I have no idea. So, yeah.
But the 10 ending, it seems to be an adaptation of the Tún ending, which is Old English for settlement or farm. But there's basically a lot of farms and settlements in the Rift. So the name of Riften basically means settlement in the Rift.
Ah. Riftun.
Yes, Riftun. Then we have Windhelm, which is wind, obviously, and the Old English helm, which either means helmet or protection. Now, the environment of Windhelm...
You don't say.
...is... Shut up.
But wind helmet. Gotcha.
Well, wind protection. And if you remember Windhelm, massive walls. It's completely sheltered from the elements. And this basically reflects the architecture of the city because obviously is it the Pale? No, the Pale's Whiterun, isn't it? No,
the Pale's Dawnstar, right? No.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. But is it?
Experts.
It isn't the Hjalmarch, is it?
Hjalmarch is Morthal.
Yeah, I've got that on my notes. It's one of the Hs that it's in, I think, Windhelm. And basically, like, the geography around there is very, very blustery and windy and gross.
Well, Windhelm is... You're talking about the place of the college, right?
No, that's Winterhold.
God, our Skyrim knowledge is... it's horrible. Oh, Windhelm is Eastmarch. You're talking about Ulfric's house, right?
Yeah.
Ulfric's crib? Yeah.
With the really high walls.
Yeah, that's Eastmarch.
So basically the walls are protecting it from the elements, so that's why the name translates as wind protection.
Ah.
So it's protected from the wind.
Yeah. You can tell, like, we haven't played Skyrim, or I haven't at least played Skyrim in quite some time.
They don't mention Eastmarch very much, in fairness. I'm avoiding the Civil War storyline.
Yeah. It, like, just 10 minutes ago, I was bragging about how well I know Skyrim.
Yeah.
Can't even name Eastmarch. Nope.
Yeah. Then we have Ivarstead / Rorikstead. I put these two together because they're kind of, like, they're basically similar. So, Ivar and Rorik are obviously Old Norse names.
Obviously.
Well, Old Norse / like, Old Nordic. That's
right.
the one, isn't it,
and
Nordic?
I assume stead would be homestead.
Farmstead. Because both are farming towns.
Ah, I see.
Like, that's what the whole economy runs on, farms.
They do. Farms and killing people.
Well, yeah, for Rorikstead. Chopping people's heads off.
Yeah.
Then we have Markarth. So, Markarth is the capital city near the River Karth. And the prefix Mark, I think, looking at all the different options, perhaps comes from the Old Norse Hamar, which translates as steep rocks or rocky hillside, which, if you think, Markarth is basically built into the mountains, surrounded on all sides, very rocky. You can't climb it, I've tried.
Yeah.
I've tried jumping up it, I've tried running a horse up it, I've tried everything.
Oh, and horses can travel up anything. I've seen horses go completely vertical.
Yeah, I've seen it going completely vertical on the way down, but I can't make them go up completely vertical. They keep on getting stuck on rocks because it's a rocky hillside.
Yeah.
So, Markarth means rocky hills / mountains by the River Karth.
That doesn't mean you don't try, though. Everybody tries.
I have tried.
There's this
I
road.
really have.
Yeah, there's this road to the left that basically eventually gets to where you need to go. But why would you do that when the objective marker points straight up the mountain and you can just take a straight line?
Just go over it.
Yeah,
you're right.
Just hop on your horse, go straight up.
And related to that, we have Carthwasten, which is again the River Carth, and Western, which translates to settlement west of the River Carth. And if you look at the map, where is Carthwasten?
Next to Diamond City? I don't know.
Yeah, next to Diamond City. No, it's slightly west of the River Carth. Like the River Carth runs to the east of it.
Ah, okay. I'm
so
failing
that was
this
that
quiz.
one. That one I thought was quite clever.
Yes, very clever.
And then we have Morthal. So the Mor prefix comes from the Old English mer, which describes the fog and the geography, because mer translates as moor, and what is Morthal right next to? A bog, or a fen, or a moor, which is what you call them. Yeah, that's the Old English way of saying a bog.
The Fens is a location in Fallout 4, too.
Oh. I should probably play Fallout 4 at some point.
You should. Then we could talk about it.
Yeah, instead of just smiling and nodding.
Yeah.
And the all suffix either comes from the Hjalmarch, which is spelled AL, or the Old English Al for all. So if we went with that one, it would be translated as all moor, which basically describes Morthal and the area around Morthal, because it's fucking disgusting. And there's vampires there.
Yeah, there is.
And finally, we're going, penultimately, Shawstone and Kinsgrove. They seem quite explanatory, but within the context of the game, mining village dedicated to the god Shaw, who is Lorcan in Elder Scrolls lore, and Kinsgrove, Kine, the god of nature and wind, and that also reflects real life naming conventions, where we have settlements named after Thor, so like Thorpe.
Thor's Grove.
There is probably somewhere like that in England. I didn't do that much research. But no, we've got places like Thorpe, we've got places named after Woden or Odin, Freyr, stuff like that. We have all those scattered around England and a lot of Scandinavia. And finally, this is me doing a bit of my stereotypical English student projecting. Helgen. Obviously where you start off.
Mm-hmm.
Which, considering it doesn't play that much of a role in the game afterwards, it's completely taken over by bandits, like after you go through the first 20 minutes. So, I did a bit of speculation, because I'm an English student and that's what I do. So, Hel, the Old Norse demigod, who is one of Loki's 3 children, prophesies to bring the world to ruin. And the closest gen or gen suffix I could find would be like direct or near a road. If you remember, Helgen has a road running straight through it. So what I thought was, so it perhaps Hell settlement near a road, and within the context of the story, Helgen is the first place to be destroyed by the coming of the dragons by the child of a god, Alduin. So this is a bit of like more. This one's a bit of a more meta name if I take it that way, or if we take it that way. But I thought that it fit strangely, kind of,
right,
sort of.
And that's the thing with any kind of naming convention. I mean, we have no idea what they meant, but we could sort of decipher it based on patterns or
and elements.
Elements of like Norse mythology or whatever. It's kind of like people actually do this to me, because I name everything at random. So, like, I'll get emails and they'll say, like, did you mean, like, Valgus? It means light in Estonia. Was that on purpose? I'm like, sure. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. I'm a genius. But no, it was totally random and I'm an idiot. So.
Fair enough. Just chose stuff that sounded vaguely Nordic.
Yeah, that's the thing. We can always kind of, I mean, sometimes there's happy accidents too. Like another incident is I named a ghoul Haskins just completely at random. And then, like,
Yeah.
the actor was like, oh, is that a pun for has skin? You know. I'm like,
I like that.
yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I meant to do that. No.
Totes my goats.
Yeah, nope, didn't mean to do that. Completely random. Just things work out that way.
Yeah. Fair dues?
Fair enough.
Right.
All right. Yeah, so, anything else you want to talk about?
No. You definitely will not see us for another month. We are not
No.
bulk recording. What?
No way. I'm actually gonna hang up right now. Yeah.
Bye, Chris. Bye.
But yeah, this is the end of this episode. So say goodbye.
Bye,
Alice.
guys.
Yeah. Bye.
Santa baby, slip a pip-boy under the tree for me. I've been an awful good girl, Santa baby, so hurry across the wasteland tonight. Santa baby, a Corvega Atomic V8, rust brown. I'll wait up for you, dear Santa baby, so hurry on past Sanctuary Hills. Think of all the fun I've missed. Think of all the sins that I haven't kissed. Next year I could be just as good if you check off my Christmas list. Santa baby, I want a fat and miniature nuke. I know it's asking a lot. Santa baby, so hurry on past Concord tonight. Santa honey, there's one thing that I really do need with speed. It's a working landmine. Santa honey, so go mow down some raiders tonight. Santa cutie, and fill my stocking with bottle caps. No trap. I could use some pre-war money. Santa cutie, and run past all the ghouls tonight. Come and trim my Christmas tree with some decorations from Diamond City. I really do believe in you. Let's see if you believe in me. Santa baby, forgot to mention one little thing. A ring from an itsy bitsy grenade. Santa baby, so hurry across the wasteland tonight. So hurry down through Boston tonight. Hurry tonight.
I like Forrest Gump, actually. I don't really want to shit on it.
I've only ever watched like the last 5 minutes of it.
Yeah. It's got its charm. I mean, it's not transcendent in the way Pulp Fiction was, in that it changed the filmmaking industry.
Yeah. It was just a good film with Tom Hanks in it.
Yeah. Tom Hanks. He's all reliable.
He's a national treasure, that guy. A national treasure.